my name is Tim and I'm going to show you how you render a rich text field in Storybook using Next.Js and Tailwind. If you're using React, this will be exactly the same. So in Storybook here, I've set up a component which has 4 fields on it. These are the 4 different text fields you can have. I'm just going to have a quick dive into these before we look at how we render the rich text. We've got text, a text area, markdown, and rich text. So what's the difference between these 4 field types? Well, text, as the name implies, it stores some text, but you can't do anything with it. So you can't put line breaks in it. You can't make any formatting options like bold or italics. You've just got basically some text wherever you want to render text with absolutely no choice of formatting given to the content editor. The second, we've got a text area, and formatting wise, this is pretty much the same as the single line text thing, except you can have line breaks now. Third, we've got Markdown, and this is for people that are skilled using the Markdown syntax to do formatting. So, for instance, we can do headings here, and we can do bolds and italics, but it's going to just use the Markdown formatting. It's essentially the same as a text area with a little bit of helpers, but it's not going to give you that WYSIWYG experience. Then lastly, we've got rich text, and rich text, as the name implies, it's rich. It gives you all those WYSIWYG options. We can change heading styles. We can do bold and italics and underline, just the same as Markdown, but we can also do things like alignment. We can put links in. We can put list items in. We can do all of this stuff, and the user can see the changes they're making. As well as that, we get some extra formatting options, like the ability to undo or cut text, paste text and stuff like that. If we go into the config for this, we can also customize the toolbar items. So maybe we don't want all of these options. Maybe we just want to let them make something bold, in which case we can do bold. I can save that. And now the toolbar will update to just a bold field. In this case, I'm going to keep the other things there. So we'll take that back off again and put them all back. And now our editors, they can make all the changes they want. But what does this save and how do we render it? If you've used CMSs in the past, pretty much back in the jQuery days of doing things, you might have seen something like this. This is Kendo UI for jQuery and their editor. And what these would do is these would actually save HTML, or they'd output HTML, which the CMS would then save into the database. They would also give you the options of actually just editing the HTML directly, which was quite useful if you wanted to embed things, and not bad for a CMS. But one of the advantages we've got with Storybook is it's this headless idea, which is meant to supply content to more than just websites. And if your output isn't a website, then having stuff in HTML probably isn't a great idea. Anyway, so let's see what's going on the front end and how we can render these things. So I'm just going to start my Next.Js application, and we can see the page. So basically, I've got a component coming out here. There's nothing in it yet, so I can put out some text just to prove that. Hello world, and yeah, so we've got that. Let's try rendering some of our content. So we can do block.text, which will give us a good old single line text area. We could do block.text area to give us our text area one, which we can see was what I said you could do line breaks in, but we're not getting a line break. That is because, as far as the HTML is concerned at the moment, it is just some text. If we want to put some line breaks in, we'll need to wrap it in some Tailwind classes to tell it that that's what we want. So I could put in, what is it called? It's white space, isn't it? I could put in that I want this to be white space break spaces. So white space break spaces, and move that close and div. And then we can have that coming up. I'm not going to bother with the markdown. Let's just dive right onto the rich text and do block.richText. But as we see, this gives us a good old runtime error. So what's going on here? What are we actually getting output? So let me add in a breakpoint and we'll just go and check that out. So we can see our text and text areas are essentially just basically regular text fields. We've got the good old \ns for the new lines in the text area, but our rich text is actually an object with this content array in. And you can see we've got our heading, our paragraphs, all as different items within this. If I dig into some of these, we can see we've got different attributes on it. So like we've got text align nothing on that one. It's interesting, but within that there's another content property. So we've got some text. If we go into the bold one, we've got this marks property on that, which is saying that it needs to be bold. If we go into the italics one, it's got the same thing for italics. And we can see this structure is pretty complex. And although we could probably write something that inspected all of that with lots of switch statements and output the right thing, that is going to take us quite a while to do. So what can we do instead? Well, luckily we have got a package that we can install from Storybook. In our case, this is the React one, so we'll install Storybook React. And then we will go and use a component that they give us to render our rich text. Now I'm going to go and create this as another component called rich text renderer, TSX, that I'm going to use to output my rich text, because in our project we probably want to use the rich text in more than one place, and we don't want to keep doing it. Let me just grab some code that I've written before and then go and paste that in. So here we go. Let's do some imports. We'll come back to those in a minute. But crucially, let's go and grab the code to render some HTML. We'll do return this. Let me just make this a little bit bigger for you to see. So what we've got here is we're importing rich text Storybook, which is from my TypeScript types, just so we've got a type for it. And from Storybook React, we're importing Storybook rich text. We've got a component outputting here. We're passing it the content, which has come through our props, and we're casting that as a Storybook rich text node, just so we don't get any TypeScript errors. Alright, so I need to go back to my component and then actually start using that. So I want rich text renderer. Do they call it renderer? Or do I just call it rich text? I'll just call it rich text. So we want rich text to do and import that. And we'll now see that we have an error. Why do we have an error? Cannot read properties of identify. Oh, we've got the wrong thing. Let's change that to this. That's complaining that might be undefined, so let's just fix that up as well. So block.rich text, and there we go. So we have our rich text outputting now, but it doesn't quite look how we'd want it to. So as I said, we're using Tailwind in this project, and Tailwind has come in and overwritten all of our styles to make sure that our H1s and Ps and stuff are all basically back to the defaults with no styling, because we're going to use our Tailwind classes to style them. The rich text component we've got, the Storybook rich text, has converted our object into HTML and output it. You can see it's given us some inline styles for things like for alignment. We've got this text align center left. But other than that, we've got basically some unstyled HTML. For us to start styling this HTML, the component gives us an option to basically use what they call resolvers. So I'm just going to copy some more code in here. So I'm going to set resolvers to resolvers, and then I'm going to actually go and create some. And you might be wondering what a resolver is. So a resolver is essentially just a way that we can overwrite what that Storybook rich text will do for each of the element types. So you can see here I've got we've got an object called resolvers, and it's going to have some properties in it for these different things. They're split into two. We've got mark types and we've got block types. mark types are going to have things like bold, italic, underline. Block types are your more block element things like a paragraph or a heading. And as you can see, for each of these, I'm outputting the HTML I want it to produce. So I'm putting in the class name for all our Tailwind classes, and I've got this key coming out. I just need to go and create that variable at the top. So that will be let item key counter. If we don't put this in, then we will get an error message essentially saying that React elements need unique keys and you're not giving it one. So this key counter just ensures that they all stay unique. Each time it outputs one, it increments the counter, and you get the idea. So with that saved, you can now see we've got our rich text coming out, but now we're formatting. So we've made our heading 1's quite big, our heading 2 is a little bit smaller, and heading 3 is even smaller than that. We've got some styles for our links. Let's just go and have a look at those. You can see we've got, where is it? We've got all of our underline, offset, auto, decoration, solid, underline, text colors in there. Everything that you might want to do to style something. We can also see that we've got our list items being styled as well, with some bullets, all using Tailwind styles. And that is essentially it. So that is our rich text, Storyblock rich text component from Storybook to render the rich text, hooked up with our own custom resolvers to inject our own Tailwind classes how we see fit.